Now, I want to promise you that Mike Clark and I did not collaborate on this. I pondered just coming out and going right into this story, but I do want to make a couple of introductory comments. One, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. As you know, every penny of this event is raised to help the Oxford Library. And we couldn't be any more pleased to have all you folks in the house tonight to show your support for the Oxford Library. Okay? I do want to mention that our former director, Carrie, is here tonight. Carrie has moved on to a different library within the Cheshire County system, but she, we've been doing this for 6 years now, and I was never able to kill Carrie off in any one way. So she took it upon herself to just leave on her own. But Carrie was gracious to come tonight, and of course, as soon as she walked in the door, I put her to work, okay? So she couldn't escape. I also want to thank my pal, Jeff Sanders, who provided some technical verbiage for me to help with this story. And he drew on his military background to help me out a little bit. So Jeff, thank you very much. So I call this story Just Loving You, Santa. God, I hate Christmas. Now, don't get me wrong. For a small town, Oxford really knows how to do Christmas right. I mean, sure, the street lights at Landhope are purple and not red and green, but still, what's with those purple street lights anyway? Nevertheless, businesses are bustling. OMI's got the country Christmas carolers jingle belling around town, and the lampposts all wrapped up like candy canes. Flower pots are decked with boughs of holly, compliments of Huff's Landscaping. Hers is rocking around the Christmas tree with their awesome lake display. And the community Christmas tree next to Edward Jones is decorated and looks like it's coming right out of the Norman Rockwell painting. Call me jaded, but even all that is not enough to get this Santa Claus out of his Christmas funk. I mean, I know I've got the look down pat. I can ho, ho, ho with the best of them. And that means a steady stream of work and a nice source of extra income during the holiday season. But the hustle and bustle just wears me out, you know? Tonight I'm working a gig on the second floor of the Oak, spreading tidings of comfort and joy while hoisting an endless line of snotty-nosed germ factories onto my lap and listening to the same old, I want a Barbie, or I want Legos. Most of the time, I can't even understand what they are saying to me. And if I do understand, I don't have the foggiest idea what it is they're asking for. You want a Stanley Cup? What are you, a hockey fan? Peace on earth, goodwill towards man. Yeah, I get none of that on this gig. I'm thinking about the flask of vodka in my hip pocket. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a crazy son of a bitch yielding an AK-47 who shows up out of nowhere and starts pum-pum-pumming off short bursts of semi-automatic gunfire into the crowd here to see jolly old me. The effect is devastating. At least a dozen down, including the Oxford Women's Group ladies who are here working as my elves. When they showed up this morning dashing through the snow, all was merry and bright. Thankfully, I guess they never knew what hit them. Gun experts will tell you that the AK-47's 39mm bullet does not generally fragment when striking a target and has an unusual tendency to remain intact even after making contact with bone. The round can slice through tissue with relatively little injury. believe that shit, you must be living in a winter wonderland somewhere, because the bodies of these women's group ladies are instantly just total, unrecognizable carnage. Time stops. I freeze, too scared to even puke. And I stare into the gaping bore of the devil's paintbrush that looks more to me like a train tunnel than a gun barrel. I force myself to look up and see the man who's about to send me into the black fantastic. Holy shit, I say to myself. I think I know this guy. People say that when faced with death, your entire life passes before your eyes. With me, it was just one instance. My very first Santa game was years ago at the Oxford Community Preschool. The teachers would parade their classrooms in to sit on Santa's lap and tell them what good boys and good girls they'd been. Before each class came in, the teacher would brief me about significant classroom happenings, who had been especially good and who needed some extra positive encouragement. A first grader who fell into the latter category was a little badass named Jeffy Sanders. Jeffy apparently was a troubled child from a troubled family who was disruptive in the classroom, didn't follow directions very well, and was a bit of a bully to the other children. If Santa could just have a word or two with Jeffy, I was told, his teacher would certainly appreciate it. Pretty soon, in came a mop-headed boy with thick glasses, a nasty cowlick, and surprisingly enough, a pretty timid attitude. The teacher nodded at me to signal me that this was Jeffy. From the look on his face, I guess he was a little intimidated by old St. Nick. He climbed up into my lap and fixed those owl-magnified eyes on my face. Hi, Jeffy. How are you? You know my name. How do you know my name? Because I'm Santa, Jeffy. I know everybody's name. Have you been a good boy this year? Kinda. So it sounds like maybe you could do a little better, huh? Do you do everything that your teacher tells you to do? Well, sometimes. At this point, Jeffy's glasses start to fog up, and I'm thinking, oh no, this kid is going to start crying right here in front of me. Jeffy, you know that your teacher has rules for your classroom. And you have to follow those rules if you want to get on Santa's nice list. You know that, right? It's always a little shocking to see how important it is to kids to have Santa's approval. And seeing that I hit on something that meant the world to him, I said, now, you still have time before Christmas. So if you are real nice and do everything that the teacher tells you to do, I think you can make it onto the nice list. Okay? Gee, thanks, Santa. I will, I promise. And off he went. After all the kids had their time with Santa, the whole class gathered around me for a class picture. Jeffy was down in front, but reached one arm way back behind him to cup Santa's neck. He was a strong little devil, and I had to exert some effort to resist his pull. What are you doing, Jeffy? I asked. The reply, and I will never forget it, came back, I'm just loving you, Santa. I'm just loving you. Over the years, I've often wondered whatever became of Jeffy. I figured he ended up either as a minister or as a Marine, a professor or a prisoner. But now I knew. I was pretty sure I was looking at a grown-up Jeffy Sanders on the business end of that AK-47. Same rumpled hair, although now shaved very short, perhaps in an unsuccessful attempt to hide that still visible cowlick. Same Coke bottle glasses. I just knew it was him. I also knew my chances were about as good as a James Franklin coach team against a top 5 opponent. Yes, I went there. But I digress. I could see police in position around the oak, but there was no way any one of them to take a shot with the barrel of that gun pointed right at me from 10 feet away. Hi, Jeffy. How are you? You know my name. How do you know my name? Because I'm Santa, Jeffy. I know everybody's name. Jeffy, what are you doing here? Why? Things are bad, Santa. I get confused. I got back from the stand. I couldn't get a leg up. Couldn't figure it out. I had a job, but my boss was on my ass like an angry mother-in-law, and I just quit. My wife divorced me and took away my kids. There's so much pressure, and finally I just snapped. At this point, I swear to God, his glasses started to fog up, and it felt like I was facing that little first-grade boy again. Only this time I was facing him through the sight of a brutal killing machine. Jeffy, you understand right and wrong, right? You know that there are laws, and you have to follow those laws if you want to get on Santa's nice list. You know that, right? Incredibly enough, in that same subconscious part of his adult brain, that still meant something to him. I said, now you don't want to hurt Santa, do you? I need you to put down that gun. And then you and Santa can go talk to the policeman, okay, Jeffy? We still have time before Christmas. So if you do everything the policemen tell you to do, I think you could make it onto the nice list, okay? He lifted his tear-filled eyes from the rifle sight and lowered the barrel. Gee, thanks, Santa. I will. I promise. I love you, Santa. There was a sharp crack, and the left half of Jeffy's head just disappeared, spraying blood and guts of gray matter all throughout my snowy white beard. Now I screamed, and I dropped on my knees in front of Jeffy's still pulsating corpse. Turning to my left, I saw SWAT Commander Jim Neary being congratulated for the kill shot by his fellow officers. Despite all the chaos, the night suddenly got very silent in my head. Nothing was calm. Nothing was bright. Jeffy certainly wasn't innocent, but he was a troubled soul, and I couldn't save him. I got to my feet and slowly started to walk off. People offered to help, but I just wanted to get away, to be alone. There was no peace on my earth, no joy to my world. God, I hate Christmas.